celebrating a very long-awaited win. As the tennis teams celebrate their winning points, this putt is in the hole. We jump all the hurdles to bring you the very best. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. Did you used to run the hurdles when you were in high school?
No, they're too tall.
Oh, you were running away.
I ran under them.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't have to duck.
Not much. They called it speed limbo.
I like it.
It didn't catch on. It didn't make it into any events, but we had fun.
But you were good at
it. We again didn't have to duck. Getting close to the very end, some very exciting things to talk about, and some stuff just about ready to go. Baseball team gets into the playoffs this week. Always love to see by the way, Coon Rapids versus Washburn. 2-0 in the favor of Coon Rapids this year. The girls basketball team beat the Millers during their season. Now the baseball team. We did talk about it last week on Sports Night, but it was fresh off the presses. We didn't have a scoreboard for it. And when Washburn is on the losing end of that contest,
you have it out for the Millers, don't you?
I'm going to put it up there.
I know you
Cardinals closed out the regular season with a 12-0 win over St. Paul Central. Their season record is 6-13. That means, Shapiro, that they are the number 7 seed in the Section 7 for a double elimination tournament, and will start against the number 2 seeded Andover Huskies on Wednesday. And Howie, we'll be there. And Forest Lake and Centennial, the 3 and 6. Up top, you have Anoka as the number 1 seed, taking on Cambridge Isani, and Blaine is traveling to Duluth East. They have the long journey.
They do. We did that game earlier in the season, Andover Coon Rapids, where the Huskies won 4-1, and actually they had an opportunity, especially in that last inning. They just unfortunately couldn't get it done. But
well, and that turned into a pitcher's duel. Yes. Their pitcher was
11 strikeouts.
On fire.
Novak. I can't remember his first name.
Luke, I think.
Novak?
Maybe.
You're just guessing. I know.
I know it's not Zach Novak. That's the Cardinals Novak.
Right.
I know it's not Cody Novak. That's Zach's older brother, who was a Cardinal. But it should be exciting. I think, as a 7 versus 2, that's a team they have a chance against. And, as we've talked about all year, when they get the bats going, they have an opportunity. But their offense has been wildly inconsistent
they just
all season.
Need to hit the ball, and that's the key.
Well, the softball team started its section tournament last week, and the Cardinals went in knowing they were a long shot to go very far, but they also knew anything can happen when you get to the playoffs. Cardinals drew the 7th seed, which meant starting at Andover on Wednesday. Huskies blew past the Cardinals in their regular season meeting, and now both teams would be looking to get a good start in the double elimination tournament. Andover getting exactly the start they wanted. Bottom half of the first, Holly Dunleavy with a looper to left center. McKenzie can't come up with it. Lockie Heppel races home to score. Huskies get 4 runs on just 1 hit and 4 Cardinal errors in the first inning. And that was all the offense they would need. Kaylin Polson gave up just 1 hit in a 5-inning shutout. She struck out 7 and walked only 2. Her team gets her plenty more run support. Bottom of the third, Chloe Brown with a hot shot to deep center. 2-run score on the double. Huskies up by 7 after 3. And sophomore Sophia Bach entered the circle in the 4th for the Cardinals. Struck out the side. That's their highlight of the afternoon, keeping their hopes alive. But unfortunately, the Huskies roll up the score again in the 5th. Maya Johnson finds a hole on the left side with bases loaded. Andover adds 4 runs in the 5th. Run away with an 11-0 win.
Yeah, obviously a tough loss for the Cardinals, who have been struggling this season, quite obviously, and looking to score runs. However,
you did tease it in the very open. I was surprised you were going to get it. They did. The Cardinals get a win. They will not finish the season winless. In the first round of the elimination tournament bracket, they went up against Duluth East, and they put up 17
pounded
runs
the ball
against the Duluth East Greyhounds, beating them 17-8. Unfortunately, later that day, their season came to an end with a 10-0 loss at the hands of the Anoka Tornadoes. And a tough season for the Cardinals, but you got a new coach, a lot of changes coming in, and then you had some injuries. You lost most of your pitching before you ever got on the field, and just never really got any traction. But
a win in the playoffs.
A win in the playoffs. Not just any win. That's a playoff win.
Yes.
So they got that, and 17 runs. 17 runs.
Impressive.
Tennis team is in.
We're not going to show brackets. Are we not doing brackets?
Tournament.
I don't know.
I was waiting for them.
Okay.
Oh, there they
are.
There they are. Forest Lake did make it all the way to the championship, the number 1 seed. And as you see, the top 4 seeds made it to the semifinals. Top 2 to the championship, Forest Lake winning. And I believe they're still waiting the winner of the elimination bracket. Because that, I believe the last 2 games of the elimination bracket are tonight, and then the championship will be tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, which I might be.
Okay, you have once or twice in the 26 years we've been together.
Once or twice a day, a week, an hour,
a minute. Well, now we can talk tennis. The tennis season is over for the Cardinals. Despite a great run by one of their captains, they weren't able to get anyone to the state tournament. The Bob Pivot Court was home for the start of the 5AA tournament, giving the Cardinals a chance to fill it home for the section. And they did well, capping off a very successful season for the program. Senior captain Blake DeGroat played doubles most of the year, but he's playing singles for sections. Tough draw in the first round, 7-seeded Zach Hemler-Janke of Maple Grove. DeGroat had his moments, able to get the winner on this point, but he falls by a score of 0-6. Sam Murillo, he had a great season. He had a great run at sections. He won the first 3 rounds, but unfortunately lost in the semifinals and came up short in the 3rd place match as well. But a solid finish for his career. Easy for me to say. Both doubles teams, they were able to win in the first round. Joe Savelli and Cooper Hell beat the duo Pham and Palmer from Champlain Park, but ran into the top-seeded duo from Maple Grove in round 2. Cal Jensvold and Ryder Held was the other tandem for the Cardinals. They controlled their first match against Park Center, winning easily 6-1, 6-0, but they lost to the other Maple Grove team in the second round, ending their season.
And there's just a look at the run. Sam Murillo, 3 straight sets victories to start, and that was one of his goals. Yep. Starting the season, he wanted to do better in the section tournament, which he did. He ran all the way to a 3rd place match, which he came up short in a tie break in the 3rd set. So that close to being in 3rd place. And then, everybody, DeGroat, again, I don't know that he played a single match singles all year. So that's tough time to try and transition. You're up against a seeded opponent in that tournament as well. And then as you look at the doubles, both teams able to win in the first round, and that's fantastic. But in looking at it, both first and second place singles players are Wayzata. Top doubles team is Wayzata. I think the other doubles team that made it to state, I think, is from Orono.
Well, it looked like Heldens Valley drew the top team in their next round after that. So tough in that situation.
Yeah, well, and Maple Grove had the top seed,
Yep.
the top seeded doubles team, but they did not win and will not advance. They lost in a true second match, so they missed their opportunity. But moving right along, keep this show on track if we can. The track teams competing in the section meet this week. Last week, they took a run at the conference championships. Cardinals had a ton of great performance for both boys and girls squads. A lot of athletes just peaking at the right time, and it leads to great results on the track and in the field. The story of the meet for the Cardinals is clearly Jackson Smith. He just blows past everybody in the 110-meter hurdles. He wins that event, takes second in the high jump, and has 2 other top 8 finishes. His time in the 110 hurdles, just 14.98. Michaela D'Souza had a really nice meet to lead the way for the Lady Cardinals. She finished second in the 100-meter dash with a time of 12.63. She was third in the 200. She's on the podium for both of her events. That'll put a smile on her face, but expect her to be hungry going into this week's sections. The 4x1 relay, hoping a return trip to state. They had a great showing at the conference meet last week. Sean Sullivan gets them a good start. Yaya Sibidebe takes the second leg, hands off to Reggie Davis at the midway point. Cardinals in a great race to the finish. Michael Dick comes up just short. They're runners up in 42.73 seconds. Coon Rapids with, as you see them trotting to the podium, Coon Rapids with two finalists in the 300-meter hurdles. Smith struggled early and fell off pace, but Christopher Dean with a solid run. He's able to finish with the leaders. He'll take third place in 40.39 seconds. Able to finish on the podium. Helps the team to a sixth place finish. And as you look at it, a lot of great times.
Yes.
Jackson Smith, again, four final event. Finals for 4 different events. Talk about easy to say. Christopher Dean also qualifying at both hurdles events for the finals. Aloysius Nyapan was third place in the long jump. Barker was fourth place in the pole vault. Jackson Smith, we talked about, sixth place in the long jump, and then eighth place in the 300-meter hurdles. Edward Tabla was seventh place in the triple jump. They had 3 or 4 more, I think, that finished top 10. Look over at the girls' side, 12th place as a team. Kennedy Martinson, we talked about it, injured all season. Unfortunately, did not compete in the hurdles, which are the events that she's gone to state in the last 2 years, but she did finish second place in the pole vault. I don't know if she's going to be able to run the hurdles or put up a decent enough time in either of the hurdles events to run it at this week's sections. And there you saw, we talked about Michaela D'Souza, second place and third place. Look for her again to make a strong push. She wants to get to state. Finished third place in both events last year as a junior. 4x100 meter relay team was strong for the ladies as well. And Nibel Jock, we talked about her all season long. Yeah. In the absence of Kennedy Martinson, she's done a really nice job. She's a junior, finished fourth in the 100, ninth in the 300. Michelle Lukic was also ninth place in the pole vault, and Ruby Demmer was 10th in the 2-mile run. Right?
Yep.
We got it all?
Yep. Now,
we got it all?
Yep. Now some big action in front of them.
And now, yeah, they've got sections started today. We'll finish up on Thursday, and then hopefully we'll be talking next week about at least a handful of Cardinals on their way to the state tournament.
I really hope so. I mean, they've got a fun, both boys and girls, some really good athletes on that squad, those squads. So. Well, the golf teams will also have sections this week after competing in conference tournaments last week. The boys get to play the rest of the season on their home course, and they're hoping to be playing at Bunker again next week at the state tournament. Their scores at the Northwest Suburban Tournament were solid, but they'll need to be even stronger to move on. It was a beautiful day to be at the golf course on Thursday. Ron Bresnahan worked his way into the varsity lineup mid-season, and he had one of his best rounds of the year. He shot a 44 in the front 9, and he was a couple of strokes better on the backside. Finishes with a respectable 86 for the day. Nice job there. Noah Law got himself off to a good start, but ran into trouble on the way back in. It was just 9 over at the turn, but a 47 on the back 9 pushed him up to 90 for the day. That one came close to the hole. Move to Gavin DeVries was Mr. Consistent for the Cardinals on Thursday. Put a 41 on each side of the score sheet. DeVries just calm, cool, and collected. At 10 over 82 is second best for the Cards. Caleb King, he had some struggles on the course this past week. He's still able to put up a solid 89, but he's capable of better. Don't be surprised to see his score drop dramatically at this week's section tournament. It's a nice chip shot there.
Taught him everything you knew, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Oscar Berg turned into low card of the day for Coon Rapids. The sophomore got stronger as the day went on. He closed with a 39, lowest 9 holes of the day for the Cardinal, for a Cardinal. Finishes with team best 81. And Devin Thompson is the last Cardinal on the card. He has a respectable day as well. He's going to finish with a 93, and the Cardinals are going to finish 12th place with an overall score of 338. Look at that, right up next to the hole.
But it says a lot about what they've been able to
tip that short one in. Yeah. That's the only thing.
What they've been able to achieve over this very short season. They've shuffled some guys in and out, but at the beginning of the year, they would have liked to have seen at least a couple of those guys get into the 70s, and they certainly could at this week's section tournament. They're just a couple of strokes away, but their high score was a 93. Their high score at the beginning of the year was in the 100s, and I think even over 110 in their first couple of events. I think they had somebody on the card that turned in a 110 or better in each of their like 2 or 3 events, first 2 or 3 events. And that says a lot about the depth of the program coming up. And the more guys you have, again, you want them to all get down into the 70s, ideally. But the more guys you have playing around the same level, the better it is for the team to progress. And that says a lot that they've been able to bring it down that far in such a short season.
Yeah, it's such a tough game. I mean, mentally it's so tough. But just to reduce your score by a few strokes is so difficult.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Well, they have sections. Tournament started today, Tuesday, and will continue on Wednesday if they qualify. And again, the more they play, the better they play, the more chances they get to compete. They could play 2 more rounds next week at state.
Let's hope so.
If possible. It is possible.
It is possible.
If they keep playing well, that's what happens. But yeah, you got to get those scores into the 70s at least. Girls golf team finished up with the Northwest Suburban Conference tournament last week as well. Ladies finished 14th place overall. Eleanor Defoe, no surprise, was the team leader with a 93 for the day. It's a little different when you look at the girls. They rarely play 18-hole matches, so definitely not a surprise to see the back nine a little bit a few more strokes, typically as fatigue comes in. But respectable scores all the way down. Eleanor Defoe's 93 is very solid. A 116 for Sophia Meyer. Caitlin Davis, 125. And you look at a number of those girls, I think 2 of those 5, I think only 2 are seniors. So good things for the future there. They have their sections over at North Fork also Tuesday, Wednesday this week. State tournament's actually out on the 13th and 14th. That will also be at Bunker for both boys and girls. We're certainly hoping that we can sit here again next week and talk about a couple of Cardinals having made the cut. Boys lacrosse team wrapped up its regular season last Tuesday in a nail-biter, losing to Totino Grace by a 12-11 score. We've talked about it again. This is another team that has struggled with finding enough offense, and when they do, and they still come up just short. They've had a couple of those games this season that have just gotten away from them. Just 2-11 for the season. Henry Leff had 5 points, 2 goals, 3 helpers. Ethan Ossie also 2 and 3. Nolan Hazelwood had a hat trick plus a helper. And they will go into section tournament actually starting tonight. The Catbirds are over at Champlin Park. Catbirds, the number 11 seed, taking on Champlin Park, the number 6 seed. So 5 teams getting a bye. The Champlin team, the first one that has to play in the opening round, and that's it. That means the Cardinals have a great challenge ahead of them.
They do. They really do.
Catbirds.
Yeah.
Don't get it right.
The Catbirds, correct.
Catbirds.
Yeah, they really do.
Tough to lose that 12-11 game. Girls lacrosse team went up against Andover last week, and that didn't go so well. 17-1 the final score. Klein had the 1 goal. Cardinals finish at 0-13 on the year, and they will go into the tournament as the number 12 seed. They are out in Forest Lake this evening to take on the Rangers as the number 5 seed, and also first team not to get a bye in that bracket. So as wide as the odds can be, that's where the Cardinals and Catbirds find themselves to start their
They do.
playoffs.
I mean, anytime you're a 12 and playing a 5, it's a difficult matchup nonetheless, and a team that has struggled all year long looking for that first win. It's a tough task to win number 1.
What better time to get it,
in the first round of the playoffs. But again, anything can happen, and let's hope this happens tonight because we would love to see it.
I want to say we saw it, and not even that many years ago. Might have been the second win. Girls basketball won over Blaine. They were an 8 versus a 1.
Right.
And that might have been their second win of the year because that was just, I think, 2 years ago. Either way, it can happen.
It can.
Let's hope it does. Any given Tuesday, ladies.
Yes.
We hope they go out and have the best game they can have. We'll talk about it, win, lose, or draw, right here on Sportsnight. Next week, we've got some playoff baseball coming up for you here on CTN, and we'll try and bring you as much as we can. And we'll be back here next week to,
have fun again,
chat and maybe show as many highlights as we can get out of here. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.